All right, we've got that dreaded tight lie that so many players struggle with here. So I've got 36 yards to this flag. And the reason we have these tight lies, by the way, I'm at the Gallery Golf Club in Marana, Arizona, South Course. We're getting ready to go into overseed. So we're killing off all this Bermuda, drying out the golf course, getting ready to grow winter ryegrass. So we've got some really tight lies, and so many players struggle with this lie. 36 yards to the hole. We've got a bunker, of course, we've got to carry here, but another little kind of contour that we've got to carry and get this onto a flat, smaller part of the green. So I need some trajectory with this shot too, and I need something that's going to stop relatively quickly, not roll out a ton. So what does everybody do in this situation? They add loft to the club, right? So everybody in this situation where they feel like they have to hit it higher, they hang back here and they flip at the ball with the hand. So what ends up happening is that you expose the bottom of the club instead of the face of the club to the golf ball, okay? This is a magnetic lie angle tool, right? So if I hang back and flip, look at the negative shaft angle right here, face of the club towards the sky, so it's open, but you're gonna end up blading it a lot off these tight lies when you flip at it with the hands like this. Watch what happens when we lead with the hands a little bit more. Now you can see I'm gonna be exposing with this forward shaft angle as opposed to that shaft angle. I'm going to be now exposing the face of the club to the golf ball, which is, of course, the absolute key to this shot is catching it on the face instead of catching it on the bottom of the club and blading it, which is probably the most common miss with this, or just flipping at it, hitting back here, and just some generally poor contact. So a good way to think about this is to use something like an alignment stick here. And you can put this alignment stick in the ground, tilted towards the target just a little bit here, right? In this ground, because we're going into overseas. Oh, I got it in there. I was thinking it wasn't gonna go in. It was pretty firm under there. So that's one thing to think about here is that we want the forward shaft lean. We want the shaft of the club here to match that alignment stick angle instead of this angle right here, okay? So the next thing here, we want the lead shoulder lower than the trail shoulder. The feeling of the lead shoulder lower than the trail shoulder. That really encourages that bottom of the swing arc looking like this coming down into the ball, right? As opposed to the bottom of the swing arc looking like this coming down into the ball, right? We want this coming down into the ball. So that lead shoulder lower just makes that swing arc want to swing down into the turf here instead of up away from it as you're coming into impact. 100% of that weight on that lead foot there, okay? So we want to feel all that weight stay on that lead foot, and we will open the stance and face slightly. And man, when I just hit that ground right there, that club wants to bounce off that turf so hard. This is a tight lie. So this is a great example of what you might deal with sometimes out there. It almost feels like hard pan, it's so tight, right? So we've really got to commit to hitting down through this shot. So here's how we would execute this. Face slightly open, feet slightly open to my target right here, right? That's the first thing. Air with the ball position back. Don't start moving that ball position forward. Everybody wants to move that ball position forward when they're trying to hit this higher shot. We want the ball position in the back so that we can catch it on the downswing, expose that face of the club, make sure that we make that good solid contact with the face of the club, because that's what's most important. So weight on that lead side, lead shoulder low, and now we're just hitting down. This is kind of that feeling that you want. Just make a couple of those, right? See how my wrist isn't releasing, right? It's none of this. It is this. This is the feeling right here. Just feel this. Hold those wrists nice and just kind of no release of the wrist, swinging it all with the shoulder rotation, hitting down, really getting that feeling of making that good turf contact, keeping all that weight over here, feeling like that lead shoulder stays lower. So now we're just gonna hit the shot here, slightly open feet, open face, weight on that lead foot right here. And this is just a little, and I'd landed right into the face of that little slope that I was trying to carry right there, but I make good solid contact with it. And you can see there's a little bit of that turf contact right there. Let's try another one here. So carry it just a little bit further, open face, open feet, just trying to feel, hitting down into it. All that weight stays over on this side, no hang back flip move with the hands right here. And when you start getting this and feeling this, you can really, now there's a, I mean, even though I'm not adding any loft to it, you can see that's a lot, really high trajectory shot right there. Rolls up there to probably just a few feet. See if we can hit a couple more, kind of like that right there, where you don't have to help the ball up into the air. You don't have to add loft to get the ball up into the air. You can see that there, right? So weight on that lead foot. Stays there through the swing. And again, you know, just that is such a soft landing, super high. That one rolled up there to about 6 inches. It looks like that was a pretty good shot right there.
All right, I got some feedback that you guys like to see these in slow-mo. There's no better shot to look at than this one in slow motion. I'm going to point out everything that you need to know about this shot. The first one here is you can see how I'm a little bit steep on it right here, right? I'm not really swinging from the inside, and the steep on the downswing there is caused just by this stance being a little bit open. Right? We drop that foot back when we want to swing from the inside, and it has the opposite effect when we have the stance a little bit open right there, is that we are going to tend to swing along the foot line in that little bit out to in kind of motion through impact. So that's the first thing. Let's look at it from the front view here. This is the same swing here. And you can see I'm still holding all of that angle. This is where most players are losing all of this angle. They're flipping, trying to help the ball up into the air, right? We want to, as we talked about, have at impact there, that forward shaft lean. That's what keeps the club traveling down through impact, right? We want the bottom of the swing arc, maybe a little bit of an exaggeration, but feeling like the bottom of the swing arc's out here. And most players are swinging more up at it, and that's how you end up blading it. Okay, so that's why we keep all of that weight, as you can see there, stays on that front foot. Now, another thing here that I want to point out is watch how, let's just go real slow here. You can see there's no zero turf contact there, right there, right? So that is all ball contact. Then there's where the turf impact occurs over on the target side. And then the other really important thing with this is that there's no release. See how you see my lead hand above that trail hand right here. So I'm not rolling it over. This is almost a little bit of an intentional over the top, and then watch how open the face stays. There's no release. The toe doesn't pass the heel at all. Watch even as this club exits right here. You can really see the angle of this club right here. Whoops, I didn't mean for that to be a circle. I wanted that to be a line. You can see the angle of the club right here, held open, and there's a little bit of this intentional chicken wing right here to hold that club face open. So most players with full swing, they're doing some kind of version of this, which we don't want with full swing. They're swinging a little steep at it over the top and then holding it open and not releasing it. In this case, we want to do that on purpose. And that is that hitting down into it. And as long as you hold that face square or open and don't roll it over, you're going to get that nice high trajectory right there, and then the ball is going to land really softly. So that is how this, and want me to just play this through. And you can just watch the motion of it in slow motion right here. All that weight stays on that lead side, holding all that angle, holding that face open, ball then turf contact, and then holding that face open. Let's do it from the front or from the side here as well. Let me clear that, and you can watch it in slow-mo here. So kind of steep. Club really stays out in front, comes down a little bit steep, swinging along the foot line, almost an intentional out to in, and then holding that face open. That's what puts that trajectory on the shot so that you get that nice, high, soft landing shot there. And it's coming down. There it is. And so that's a pretty high shot from a little tiny swing right there. And it's not some kind of crazy, open your stance a bunch, open the face a bunch, swing hard at it. It's just swinging a little bit steep down into it with a very slightly open stance, very slightly open face at setup, and then just hold that face open through impact, hit down on it. Don't add that loft to the club or try to help the ball up into the air. Allow the loft of the club. By the way, this is my 60-degree lob wedge. I probably should have mentioned that at some point. So that is how you execute this shot, and I hope that helps you next time you get that tight, tough lie.